going to hook up Facebook. Yesterday, we weren't able to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, and I definitely wanted to do that here at Decker. It's important for us to, to recognize each of our team members and all those who are part of it. And there's some big accomplishments. I mean, this weekend we had, I'm trying to think of the number of people. I know 3 right off the top of my head who celebrated their 15-year anniversaries here at Decker. So obviously we want to celebrate those. So I am just sharing that with our Facebook because yesterday I had some technical difficulty. Just to say a few. But then we'll do birthdays and anniversaries. And then, of course, this is a live Q&A, so it's really an opportunity for you to ask your questions and get them answered. It's, Decker Truckline. What do we have available? What type of equipment do we have? What are our benefits? And when does it all start? Those are the type of questions that I'm expecting you to ask. But, if you have something else that you're wondering about here at Decker, please feel free to put it in the comments, to put it in the chat. So hopefully I can see the chat as it comes in. So let me know that you're here, that you can hear me, and we'll get started. If that works for you, that works for me. So that's what we'll do. In the meantime, yeah, there we go. Live. That's what I'm looking for. Our live button. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with our Facebook crew, and I'm going to be looking at both of the chats just so that I'm answering both questions. So there we go. I'm seeing it slowly but surely. And then, so first off, welcome to Decker. We go live every Tuesday at noon Central, every Tuesday at noon Central. And that's where we answer your questions, let you know on what's going on here at Decker, any updates, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, on our Facebook page, we go live. Oh, I almost did it again. We go live every Monday at 4 p.m. Central. There we go. A little bit better eye contact here for me. So join our YouTube live. There we go. Just wanted that to get posted. Okay, so yeah, go live. Hey, everything is good. Oh, Mike, thank you. Mike was on here yesterday helping out, answering some questions as well as asking, right? All right, birthdays and anniversaries. Lone Wolf Transportation's on there. Hello. Thank you. Okay, so birthdays and anniversaries, I don't want to miss. This is like my favorite part because I'm like a birthday person. I like to celebrate those. Hey, Susan, how are you? And so we're gonna go ahead and celebrate those. Yesterday was the 23rd. So we had Ryan Stratton, who celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday, Ryan. And anniversary-wise, well, Jacob Sutherland celebrated his anniversary. It was his 10-year anniversary. So he celebrated that. Who else do we have coming up for Ryan Stratton? Like I said, celebrated yesterday. And Ricky Nava also celebrated a birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. And today, Paula Elbert celebrates a birthday. Happy birthday, Paula. And so is Matthew Robinson. So happy birthday to both of you. Farak Altira celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. And Tim Gallagly also celebrating a birthday coming up tomorrow. Lane Schaefer celebrates a birthday on the 28th. So does Alexander Adams. Happy birthday to both Lane and Alexander. And then DeQuayne Edwards celebrates a birthday coming up on the 26th on Thursday. And Ada Brown celebrates a birthday on the 27th. So does Kenneth Curtis and Christian Kinsey, as well as Seth Robinson and Venner Valson. So we have Venner, Seth, Christian, Kenneth, Ada, all coming up on the 27th. Friday. Yeah, I had to make sure that was Friday. Check out my Decker calendar to make sure that's right. All right, coming up on Saturday, the 28th. We're coming up towards the end of the month already. Can you believe it's almost the end of June? I I want more Junes, more nice months. Although it snowed, so it snowed this week, so I'm not sure about that. Um, in Montana. Let's see, where are we at? We have Harold Richardson celebrating a birthday coming up on the 28th. Paul Heeman celebrating on the 28th. Daniel Zimmerman, happy birthday. Daniel, Harold, Paul. And Larry Dew and John JeBlanc both celebrating on the 29th. Yes, 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 yes. And then we have, coming up later, Brandon Williams, I said that, Philip Wise, Brandon Williams, Brandon Williams, Philip Wise, and Tom Melton all celebrating birthdays on the 26th. So no, anniversaries, excuse me, not birthdays, anniversaries. Well, let's bounce back to that. How about we bounce back to that? I want to say I'm missing some. Lynn Schaefer, Alexander Adams. Maybe we did hit all the birthdays. John JeBlanc celebrates on the 29th. Larry Dew, yep. All right. Let us do anniversaries then. So Eric Cruz is celebrating his 2-year anniversary. He's a mechanic here at Decker. And Eli Devine also celebrating an anniversary on the 26th. David Stevens celebrates his 6 years here at Decker in our maintenance support. And Thomas Jensen celebrates a 5-year anniversary coming up on the 29th. Brian celebrates 16 years here at Decker. Congratulations, Brian. And Braden Onwarder celebrating a 2-year anniversary coming up on the 30th. 30th is rolling too deep into next week. That's already Monday. I better hold my horses on that one. You gotta hold it back, right? Jeffrey Great and Joseph Paris and Michael Dosh all celebrated anniversaries on the 22nd. So what is that? That was Sunday, right? Michael celebrated his 14-year anniversary. Congratulations, Michael. Jeffrey, his 3rd, and Joseph Paris celebrated 9 years as an owner-operator here at Decker. So his 9th anniversary as an owner-operator. Congratulations. Dominic McClure celebrates his 4-year anniversary coming up tomorrow on the 25th, Wednesday. And there we go, Tom Melton. Tom is celebrating his 17 years here. He's got me beat by 2. Celebrating 17 years coming up on the 26th. Brandon Williams is celebrating an anniversary. So is Philip Wise, both celebrating their 1 year. I see a question with Mike asking, what do we do on the 1-year anniversary? Well, we have depending on when you start, you may see additional things like right now we have a sign-on bonus. And so you get paid your 6-month, 9-month anniversary, and then again, the remaining amount on your 1-year anniversary. But for those of you who didn't start with a sign-on bonus, which would probably be around this time, we do have another a vacation time. So you have another week of vacation come on your anniversary. You also get an additional penny raise. So you get a raise at 90 days, but then you get another one on your 1-year anniversary. And at that point, they're annual raises. So you do get a raise on your anniversary. You also, or not also, but there is a cap at 70 cents a mile. So for those of you who, if you were in the FABED division and you have a ton of experience, then you might be capped out at 70 cents a mile, but otherwise you'll get a penny raise on your anniversary. Where am I at? Sorry, my camera's falling. It's shrinking. Can you feel that? All right. Tom Melton celebrates his 17 years. I think I said Philip and Scott both celebrating, or Brandon and Philip celebrating on their 1-year anniversary on the 26th. Scott Davison celebrates on the 28th, and Jeff Segal. So Jeffrey Segal's celebrating on the 2nd, or on the 28th as well, both celebrating their 2 years. Jeff was on yesterday, helping answer some questions as well. So congratulations, you guys. We also have Thomas Jensen and Brian Witten celebrating towards the end of the week as well. I think I mentioned Brian is celebrating his 16 years. So Lone Wolf says, I can definitely believe it. It's getting hot out here. Yeah, it is. Already the end of June. It's so crazy. Where are you at anyway? I know here it's only supposed to be like in the 70s today, which isn't bad. But when you had 40s last week, I'm like, 70s sounds awesome. We actually had like 90s and 70s. No, 90s and 40s last week. We just like to make it difficult here in Montana. Let's see what we can do. So speaking of locations and stuff like that, let's talk about some of the hiring areas because those have actually expanded for a lot of our divisions. Some of them have shrunk, and really it's based off of the movement and the expansion and the shrinking of different divisions, hiring areas are based off of not only the number of drivers that are located in those areas, but also the amount of freight that we have. Obviously, we have to have a good balance of the two in order to make sure that what we're promising you for home time, we can live up to, right? That's why we have these weekly Q&As, because that can change from week to week. With the different contracts that we have, with the if we have a new hire or if somebody has retired or something like that, those are all factors that could change the game, change the hiring areas for us. So we like to keep you up to date and what the heck is going on here at Decker. So first off, we do have a team opportunity that is an over-the-road team opportunity. So if you're someone who's teaming, especially husband-wife, though I say husband-wife because that works really well because it's usually the same household. So if you and your spouse are currently OTR drivers and you're teaming, probably a good opportunity for you. Now, home time is just going to be a little bit different because we have a home time option that is weekly in our team opportunity, but you do need to live right on 80 between Denver, Colorado and Chicago, Illinois. That's one that you see often with us. That one, I believe, is full. However, our OTR option for the over-the-road refrigerated team, that one is usually 4 weeks out at a time, 3 to 4 weeks out at a time. And then, of course, we figure for every 7 days that you're out, it's a day and a half home time at least at home. So it does depend on where you're at on what we have available, but right now it's that OTR refrigerated position for the team, and it's about 3 to 4 weeks out at a time. Figure 5 days home, just throwing that out, 5-6 days home on your home time. With this team opportunity, even though it's OTR, every once in a while we would have you run on that dedicated run, which is that I-80 route that I was talking about earlier for some of our other teams. So you'd be running over the road, so coast to coast. Sometimes you'd be out west, sometimes you'd be in the Midwest, maybe even out towards the east by the Carolinas, Florida, all over the place in this over the road opportunity. However, if we have somebody, one of our teams that is maybe going on vacation or whatever, that is part of that dedicated route, then we would put you on to that dedicated temporarily in order to make sure that they've got the home time. And then with that dedicated, you're definitely going to get great miles. Honestly, with our teams, our average miles are over 24,000 a month with our teams, which if you knew our pay scale, which I'm going to tell you right now, if you knew our pay scale, then you know that you'd be making the top pay, like the top mileage bonus because of that. So you'll get 60 cents a mile. That's the base to the truck, right? So it's split in that 60. You get 30. Each driver gets 30 cents a mile. Of that 30 cents a mile, 5 cents per driver is per diem. So it's non-taxable income. If you're talking about it to the truck, it's 60 cents a mile, 10 cents per mile is per diem. In any of our driving positions, any of the per diem positions, 10 cents of it of the amount that I'm quoting you is per diem. I will try to remember to say that every time so that I'm not confusing you, but yeah, 10 cents per mile is per diem, so you're not taxed on it. Okay, so where's it going? Oh, the scales. With our team scale, anything over 18,000 miles a month is an additional 8 cents a mile. So, and again, that's split to the truck, so it's 4 cents per driver. So if it's not the same household, then know that it's 4 cents a piece. If it is the same household, you probably worry less about that or less concerned about it as long as you know what the truck is making. And again, that's an additional 8 cents a mile. However, we pay every Friday direct deposit when it comes to the base. That's the 60 cents a mile. Anything as far as bonuses, whether it be the mileage bonus for the team or the scorecard or the safety bonus, those are all paid the third pay period of the month following when you ran it. So everything in May, so all the miles that you've completed in May, if you received a bonus for that, they're calculated and they're paid out the third paid period of the month following when you ran it, which would have been the 7th, the 16th. They were paid out on the 16th of June. So last Monday. That was the scorecard, the safety, and of course the mileage bonus for any of our teams. So that's how that works. Now, if you didn't run over 18,000 miles a month, if you ran 16 or 17,000 miles for the month, you'd be making an additional 6 cents a mile instead of an additional 8 cents a mile to the truck on the bonus structure. But like I said, with our teams, even though we have the graduated pay scale, off the top of my head, I don't know any of our teams that don't make the additional 8 cents a mile with the bonus because, like I said, our average is well above the 18 minimum in order to qualify for that additional 8 cents a mile. So there you go. Hey, Sean, how are you, man? Good. Unknown says, for take-home trucks, how does regular maintenance get done? Very good question. So regular maintenance is done when you're on the road at that point. And actually, let me be more specific because I say when you're on the road, but it's usually done by our terminals. So you go to one of our shops, whether it be Fort Dodge or Des Moines or Hammond, Bessemer, Mediapolis, Sperry area. Yeah, so we would have you do it while you're on the run. We added the Des Moines shop in, was it 2000? Oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember dates here. But we added the Des Moines shop because we had so many people coming to Fort Dodge and it was slowing people down. It was cutting into some of your hours. Sometimes coming into Fort Dodge works great, right? But in some cases, it's cutting into your hours because you're having to go an hour and a half each way, basically, an additional hour and a half each way. If it's taking you off route, we're probably going to keep you on we're bringing you into the Des Moines. That's why we added that shop there to prevent, cutting into your hours and making you unavailable. So, but yes, we do usually do it while you're out on the road. Since you're bringing the truck home with you on your home time, our routine maintenance, you've got your A and your B service, right? And usually, I think it's right, figure about an 8-hour is going to be I wanted to say longest, but then I don't want it to come back and bite me in the butt either. So I think usually 8 hours is going to be 4 to 8 is about the norm. Okay. For downtime for you. But yeah, we do have, especially in Fort Dodge, if you're coming into Fort Dodge, we have rooms there, like motel rooms, I guess is what you would call it, but it's there at the terminal. So they're private rooms where you can just relax and have some downtime, whether you need to rest, to sleep. Like I said, these are private rooms. We even have that motel where you can go in and sleep. But then we have the private rooms where they've got the big lounge chairs. You've got, the kitchenette. You can get something to eat. But laundry, we have laundry facilities as well. So we have those at several of the terminals. Des Moines doesn't have all of the facilities, but we have a car that you can sign out and then either go do laundry or run some of your errands or whatever it is that you need to do, so you can get things done, and it's not, it's not a burden on you to get the maintenance done, because maintenance is obviously extremely important to us. Our equipment is top of the line. I mean, you've got, not only do you have newer model equipment, which is nice because it cuts back on the maintenance issues that you would have, it also, because of our techs and the training that they have, we don't have the downtime for maintenance that a lot of other companies do, because it's newer equipment and our techs are well trained, right? And so they're moving things along and getting things where they need to be to keep you moving along, right? Anyways, the locations are strategic because based off of freight and lanes and your home time and stuff like that. So, for instance, if you live near Gary, Indiana, or Hammond, you've got a shop and terminal that you can park at if you need to, and they can take care of the maintenance while you're on home time. It all is going to depend on where you're at, if it's accessible enough for you to leave the truck there on your home time so the maintenance can be done. Otherwise, we'll do it while you're out on the road. And that's something that you'll work with your driver leader to your driver leader and the maintenance department will all work together to streamline that for you to make life a whole lot easier. Well, that's the plan, at least. I'm sorry, I'm falling behind on some of these comments. Chimade Nick says, can you explain how detention pay works and the rate of pay for being at a dock to get loaded and unloaded? Sorry, I'm struggling with my format here on reading the comments. Yes. So as far as detention starts after 2 hours. It is $20 an hour. It's up to $200 for detention, and it's automatic basically. So it's automatically set in. What happens is when we have the TransFlow app on the phone, right? We have with our ELDs, you are plugging into the ELD plate and you're typing into the ELD that, hey, I'm here, right? You're doing your arrival call. When you confirm your arrival call, that is what initiates the timer. So saying you've arrived, it's keeping track. So if for some reason you're sitting there waiting to be unloaded or loaded or whatever it might be, it's calculating that for you. So if you qualify for detention, it's automatically submitting that to payroll. Now I say that, and I mean that, but I also want to remind you, if you qualify for detention, like if you are there, not just detention, but detention, layover, mechanical breakdown, anything like that, please make sure that you're putting that on your cover sheet for when you're submitting your payroll information or your paperwork for payroll. Paperwork needs to be submitted by Tuesday at 10 p.m. Okay, get it in by Tuesday, 10 p.m. You can scan the documents, you scan everything and get it submitted. But please make sure that you note any extra pays so that it basically flags the payroll department so they can, not only do they have the notification from one, but then they also have the heads up from you that, hey, you need to make sure that automatic is being pulled in. So that detention or that layover. So it's like a checks and balances thing. Please make sure that you do that so that it doesn't get overlooked. It automatically submits it, but then it's with you putting it on your cover sheet, you're confirming that yes, that on my end, it should be paid. And then on payroll's end, it's also showing that it should be paid. So does that make sense? Hopefully that answers your question. Mike says your DM schedules your maintenance when it's time. Yeah, they do. They work with the maintenance department to deal with that. That's your driver leader that's part of what they're there for. I mean, they're supposed to take a lot of that maintenance, but they're supposed to be taking a lot of that extra stuff off your shoulders. You know, they're trying to get you your pre-plans. They're scheduling you your loads and they're scheduling you your maintenance. You're planning your day out, right? You're planning your day out. You're doing your pre-trip and your post-trip and you're doing everything right then and there. You're doing hands-on. They're trying to do a lot of that back-end support for you so that you're not having to figure that all. Sean says missing. I know, I hear you. Thank you. Looking forward to joining next month. Woo, awesome. Next month. Like it. July. Chimade or Nick says, okay, thank you. I've been here at the dock for almost 2 days. Okay. Let me, so you've got your detention, but then you also have layover, right? Layover is, sorry, my phone keeps going off. Layover, I gotta remember, because sometimes I get layover and mechanical breakdown, but mechanical breakdown is $75. No, layover is $75. Mechanical breakdown is one. How about I look this up just to make sure that I'm not saying it wrong? Layover is $75, yes, and that's for the first 24, and then after that it's $100. Okay, so it'd be, in this case, for if it's 2 full days, Nick, then you're looking at 175. Breakdown, there we go. See, little minds have to have my reminder. So breakdown is $100 for the first day, 150 for the second, and 200 for the third. I do want to give you a heads up, because as I'm looking at those numbers, if for some reason, breakdown wise, let's talk breakdown. If for some reason you were your truck was going to be down for, I don't know, it's down for a day, they recognize that it's going to take more, they're waiting on a part or something like that. I mean, normally we have parts on hand in case something were to happen, right? But if for some reason it's something that we don't have a part on hand, and there's going to be some time, or maybe even you're out on the road and something happened, maybe you hit a deer or something, and there's going to be repairs and you're going to be waiting. Oftentimes, what your driver leader will do is they will work with our assets manager, the director of assets, and they will work to get you into a temporary truck so that you can keep moving, right? The reason well, there's multiple reasons we do that, but one of the reasons is you're going to make more money, most likely, driving than you would waiting, than layover or mechanical breakdown. Okay, awesome. Make more money, but the company is moving forward too. So now we're not just paying out; we're also able to not, we're bringing in to cover that. So there's that. And I don't know about you, but I get totally antsy if I'm sitting waiting. Most of us do, and you can't tell me that most of you guys don't. I know you get antsy. It's natural. We feel we gotta keep moving. We gotta keep feeling like we're doing, accomplishing something each day. Okay, moving on from that. I just keep talking. But yeah, so oftentimes what they'll do is they'll get you into a temporary truck in order to, while you're waiting for your other one. And then when you get your truck back, you can be a happy camper that, your baby's back in your hands and all washed and cleaned and looking good. Normally if we're putting you in a temporary truck, it's usually a Decker truck, by the way. I don't foresee putting you in a rental truck. I know some companies do that. No, we're going to put you in equipment that we trust. We know it's well maintained, safety, high safety standards, all that good stuff. So, I was going to say something about that. What was it? Can you remember what I was thinking? That might be it. All right. Sean says, if you're a day before your appointment, it doesn't count. It's from 2 hours after your appointment time. Yes, good point. Your arrival ends the appointment time. It does take into account both of those. Good point. Thank you. Okay, good. I swear I was going to say something else about equipment and the labor or breakdown. Maybe it'll come to me, but I just want to make sure. No problem, Nick. I just want to make sure that I was covering different scenarios that might come about. As far as equipment, most of them are the 579 Peterbilts. We have some Volvos, and okay, first of all, when I say most are Peterbilts, the 589s are like 90 some percent of our trucks. And even above that, we have some 389s and we have some 589s. So 579, 589, and 389s for the Peterbilts. That said, even though those are the majority of the trucks, those aren't necessarily the ones that are available when you first come aboard. You might have a Volvo. You might have a Freightliner Cascadia Evolution. And as far as running and maintenance on them, it's pretty darn similar anymore, right? They are automatics. They're, like I said, they're very well maintained, but they have all of the same amenities. The layout or the interior is a little bit different, and usually that is what I've noticed. Different people will have preferences on, right? So with the Volvos, we have 740s usually for the flatbed division, and then we have either an 860 or a 780 for the refrigerated division. And then a few Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions. But like I said, as far as try not to drop that. As far as amenities, they're pretty much the same. They're double bunk. They are the ultra loft sleepers. We have for flatbed, obviously you've got the headache rack, so that's going to be a little. That's why the 740s for the Volvos instead of the 860s. But yeah, they're all double bunks. They've got APUs and inverters. They've got refrigerators and microwaves, CB units. They're all equipped with a 22-inch smart TV. Plus, Decker pays for the satellite, not satellite, the streaming. It was satellite, but now Epic View upgraded, and we upgraded with Epic View, and it's now streaming platforms with Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi is included. It's free to all of you drivers here at Decker, and so is the 100+ channels of Epic View. So for streaming. Plus, because it's a smart TV, if you have a subscription to, whatever else isn't on there, HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, those are all part of the subscription. But if you have a streaming platform that you subscribe to, it's a smart TV, so you can sign into that sucker and use that too. What else? Oh, all of the trucks are equipped with the smart, or is it called smart radio? Radio Ready. That's what I want to say. Radio Ready. And so if you have Sirius Radio, you can hook it up, but that's a subscription that you'd have to have. As far as the Epic View, the TV and stuff like that, that's a subscription that Decker holds for you. That's a perk, a benefit here, one of those amenities. And so if you want the Radio Ready or the Sirius Radio, you would just give them the number on the back of the unit so that you can connect your account with it. I know a lot of people stream podcasts, they stream books, all that kind of stuff. Because it's free Wi-Fi, you don't have to have a Sirius account or anything like that. You can just use the streaming that is provided through Epic View that Decker provides. So yeah, you have that option. With that said, if you are streaming something, please make sure that your phone is turned away, so that like the screen is turned away, so that you can listen to it, but you're not watching it. And I know most of them are like, it's just an image and not a video. Like, I would, please don't watch this video while you're driving. You can listen to it, but like this interaction, please don't watch while driving. That's what the replays are for. That's why I leave the replays up, so that you can still ask your questions and get them answered without having to be here live. Whereas if you're watching it live, obviously that's not DOT compliant, right? If you've got the screen facing you, you could still be written up. So please make sure, it's like when you're going in for an inspection or something like that, that screen needs to be turned away. Hopefully you get a passenger over there that can help you out. Speaking of passenger, we do allow riders ages 10 and up. It's $25 a month. And I learned yesterday that you can pay for, 6 months at a time instead of the $25 a month. I did not know that. Things I learned. Thank goodness for everybody's contribution to the lives. Yeah. So, anyways, that's that. And what am I missing for amenities? I think I said refrigerator. I think I said microwave. But they're very well equipped. If you're asking, if you're wondering what we have on the trucks and I might have missed it, then feel free to ask. That way I'm getting those answered for you. As far as some of those other positions that we were talking about, we do have refrigerated and we have flatbed for the most part for availability. As for the team opportunity, it is just refrigerated. Now for the home weekly opportunities, we have flatbed and refrigerated as well. The areas are a little bit different. So for flatbed, it does overlap with one of our refrigerated home weeklies, but our flatbed, I'm looking at my map. My flatbed home weekly opportunities span everywhere from Sioux Falls over to Michigan, well, up to Minneapolis, over to Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to Chicago, over to Grand Rapids, over to Cleveland. I'm trying to think of where else. Cincinnati, Louisville, right? Yeah, St. Louis, up north to Sioux Falls, through Des Moines, of course, and all of that. That's all home weekly opportunity for our Midwest Flatbed. Not only is it home weekly, but we do have a minimum pay of $14.50 per week. So you know you're going to make at least $1,450 per week in that one, as long as you meet the requirements, which are pretty basic. I'm going to go through those minimum pay requirements so that you know what they are and what our expectation is, and of course, you know, where you can go from there. So the $14.50, I believe in that division, and I'm just going to confirm that, but I believe the average weekly pay is $15.50 in that one. Where's it at? Yes. So $14.50 is the minimum, but obviously you can make more than that. In order to meet the minimum, you have to be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. And what I do want to point out here is when you're making yourself available, that means is when your clock is allowing, you know, when time comes back on your clock, you're able to put yourself available and say, hey, I'm ready to rock when you are. To your driver leader, they will go ahead and get you set up if you're not already. But be available at least 5 days out of the week. With flatbed, it's really Monday through Friday because that's the majority of the runs. You know, usually you're coming home on like a Friday night or a Saturday morning and then back out either Sunday night or early Monday morning. And it's a case-by-case basis. You know, so we don't guarantee a home on the weekend, but for flatbed, it's pretty darn common because that's just kind of how flatbed freight runs. Now, with making yourself available, if your time allows it and you're not showing available, then that's going to be cutting into your minimum pay. It's going to cut into your miles and everything. So please make sure that you're showing available as soon as your clock allows it, and you know, you're coming out of home time, that kind of thing. So for instance, like if your clock allows you to get going at 7 a.m. on Monday, that you're putting yourself available instead of waiting till like 3 on Monday afternoon and then saying, hey, I was available Monday, but I didn't get anything. Well, you should have been available at 7 on Monday, not 3 in the afternoon. So that's where some discrepancy will happen. So make sure that you're speaking to your driver leader, that you guys have got a good stream of communication so that they know when you're going to be available right away so that they can get that planned and not scramble at the last minute because they were waiting for you to be available earlier and you weren't, and then all of a sudden now you are. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. But I think that's important. Just making sure that you've got those communication channels open. It's going to help you. It's going to help them. So where was I? Okay, minimum pay requirements. Be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. No load refusals. In order to qualify for the minimum pay, you can't refuse a load on that. No late loads, and no preventable accidents, and no CSA violations for the week. And get your paperwork in on time. 6 requirements. That's it. Notice that miles was not a requirement in there, right? You're showing yourself available. You're doing what you can in order to put yourself ahead, right? And then your driver leader is working with you to keep going. Oh, this is a week-by-week basis. So when I said no preventable accidents, no CSA violations, if you have a ticket on your record, but like one that obviously we could work with, so it's not a major moving violation, but if you have a ticket on your record, that's not going to affect your minimum pay unless you just got it that week. So it is a week-by-week basis. And like I said, paperwork needs to be in by Tuesday night. So the week is going to be starting on Wednesday. Cool. Wednesday to Tuesday. Yeah. Also, in that flatbed home weekly position that we were talking about, there is an area that we do offer the $8,000 sign-on bonus. So it's an $8,000 sign-on bonus for flatbed. It pays $2,000 on your 6-month anniversary, another $2,000 on your 9-month anniversary, and the remaining $4,000. Yeah, make sure I'm saying the right word. Remaining $4,000 on your 1-year anniversary, so at 12 months. Cool. That is for our Midwest Flatbed 1450 division. The different sign-on bonuses are, per division. So each division, one division might not be the same as another. That's why you want to double check. And so are the requirements. Unknown says, do your delivery times add a little cushion for things such as traffic or accidents on the road? Yes and no. Most of them, yes. I mean, it's figured in initially. Now, there are times that we'll get a load that maybe we're recovering a load for them or something, or picking it up last minute. Then they don't always have a whole lot of cushion time. Usually plenty of time to get the load delivered, or but it is going to obviously depend on what your hours are, if there's cushion time or not, right? Because if you're on minimal hours and you're running little by little, then in that case it might not. But if you've got full hours, you're probably just going to be fine. Usually it's calculated at a 55 mile per hour. Average. What's the word I want? But it's usually figured at about 55 miles. So you've got time to get there without rushing, whether you have construction or accident or traffic or whatever. Yeah. With speaking of timing and delivering times and stuff like that, with flatbed, it is pretty, you oftentimes you're picking up in the afternoon and delivering in the morning. That's common with our refrigerated division too, especially with our meat. So we do beef, pork, chicken. If you're running meat, we're not doing swinging meat. That's still a thing, right? But not here. But if you're doing meat, you're probably picking up at 3, 4 in the afternoon, running to deliver, leaving to get that truck delivered by early morning, 2, 3 in the morning. That's not uncommon for some of these runs. So yeah, that's not uncommon. Average speed is 50 to 55. Thank you, Mike. I wanted to say average speed, but I was sure that there was a word for it. And it probably isn't. I just don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the average speed when they're calculating the runs is right between the 50 and 55 mark. So you should have plenty. Some more than others, but there are some of our customers that they schedule the loads, and we don't have the control over the scheduling in some of them. Not all of them, but there are a couple of customers that they're the ones that give us the times, and we work with what they give us. We do as much as we can to have a say in that. Oh, the refrigerated, like I was going to say, we do have a home weekly refrigerated opportunity that it's actually home on the weekends. That one we do guarantee on the weekends. I know it's weird to hear a guaranteed home on the weekends in the refrigerated division, but we have it. Hey, Riley. But we do have it. So this one is going to be in a very small area. This one does not have a minimum pay, and it does not have a sign-on bonus. So, but it does get you home on a weekly basis, coming home on a Friday, usually Friday night or Saturday morning, and then back out Sunday night or early Monday morning. That's pretty common. You're going to get a full 48 on this refrigerated one. If you live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, or Detroit, Michigan, I'm looking at my map over here, so if you're wondering where my eyes are going, Detroit, Columbus, Ohio, I'm pretty sure Indianapolis is in there, and Cincinnati as well. Yeah, so if you live anywhere in that nook there, we can get you home on the weekends in the refrigerated division. And the rate of pay per mile is going to be based on your experience level. So if you have 10 years of experience, you're looking at 65 cents a mile. Again, 10 cents per mile is per diem, so you're not going to be taxed on that 10 cents a mile. But it's 65 cents a mile. You'll get a penny raise after 90 days, and then you'll get a penny raise annually as well. It doesn't have a minimum pay on it. It doesn't have sign-on bonus, but it definitely's got that home time factor that a lot of you guys are looking for. So there we go. Mike says there are loads that are tight, but for the most part, we have a little time. Cool. So nice to have some of our current drivers on here. So when you guys have questions, you're getting it from not only the point of view from like an in-house point of view, like a support staff like myself, but also someone like Mike, who is, he's in it. He's in the midst of it all, right? He lives it, and you're getting confirmation, so a little bit of peace of mind, I hope, on what myself, a recruiter, here at Decker is telling you. It was one of the things that when I first got in the industry, which was 20 years ago, when I first got in the industry, I found out that people did not trust recruiters. That was new to me. Didn't know why. Found out why. That you just weren't always given the most accurate information. That is exactly why we do these lives, because we want the most up-to-date information that the operations department is sharing with the recruiting department, that the drivers are confirming, that yes, that is exactly how things are going. So if you're coming aboard to Decker, you know what to expect. You're not going to have all those surprises. So yeah. Anyways, Mike, thank you. That's what I'm getting at. I appreciate having you on here and giving driver's side view, sports staff view. Yeah. All right. What else? Over the road refrigerated. We have some of those. We're hiring out of Phoenix, Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. I don't even know if we hired out of Tucson when I first started. But it's a new opportunity. We've opened up some running lanes, which means the reason we have is because we've gained some contracts in some of those areas, or at least through those, to get you home, which is fantastic. So great opportunity for those who live in that area or have been trying to get to there. Denver, Colorado, Salt Lake City, Utah, Las Vegas. In Oregon, we're hiring out of Hermiston, Pendleton area, of course, Portland area, there on I-5, and then up into Washington. The state of Washington is a fantastic spot for us. Pick a spot, we pretty much are hiring out of there. Yakima, the Tri-Cities, Seattle, Spokane, definitely hiring out of it. It's a good location for us. We have a lot of freight. Apples, we've got some orchards up there that we're up to often. As far as Idaho, sorry, Coeur d'Alene is the only thing that was popping in my head there. As far as Idaho, yes, we hire out of Coeur d'Alene, right there by Spokane, but also out of Boise. So we have opened up Boise. We've got some new lanes out of there, which is fantastic. And of course, Montana along 90 there, we've got some opportunities in Montana too. In pretty much all cases, off the top of my head, I can't think of one that isn't, but you'd be bringing the truck home with you on your home time. So if you are hired on and you're talking to a recruiter, they have already confirmed that you are within the hiring area. That is the first thing that they're going to find out, because if you aren't in the hiring area, we can't get you home, and then we can't live up to anything that we're promising you. So we want to first make sure that yes, you're in the right hiring area. Now let's talk about experience and qualifications, that type of thing. Speaking of, we are looking for at least 6 months of experience in order to qualify without, going out with a trainer. Now, if you don't have 6 months of experience and are a recent graduate, we have training available, but we don't have training available right now. Does that make sense? Probably not. What I'm getting at is we are full on trainers, on available trainers until I believe August or September. So if you are a recent graduate of an approved school, if you're a recent graduate of a school, then get a hold of our recruiting department, let them know, get the application in, start the process so that when we have an available trainer, they can move forward right away for you. Okay. Location is important. Loads like Tyson to Walmart, DC are tight, Mike says. Yeah, that is the one that was sitting in my head when I was saying not all of them we have control over. That one is one of them that we don't get to, we don't schedule in-house. That's what I mean by we don't have control over, like their schedulers take care of it, not ours don't get to. They'll be in contact with them, but yeah. And there's a lot of first come, first serve. If you get a first come, first serve, you're going to want to deliver that as soon as possible, because then it can get you out and get you onto your next pre-plan right away. You like that, right? Yes, why not? What? Oh, the over-the-road refrigerated that I mentioned that hires out in Oregon and Washington and Montana and Utah, Arizona, Colorado. I think I've hit most of the Western states. And yes, we have OTR positions in like Tennessee. Memphis is a great location for us. Pretty much all of Tennessee, the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Texas. We've got great opportunities. So please just get a hold of our recruiting department, which, by the way, hey, if you want to talk to one of our recruiters, give them a call. It's 877-433-2537, and our recruiters can help answer your questions as well. A little more specific to you instead of hearing, the whole offering. It'll be more specific to you, where you live, what your experience level is, that type of thing. So yeah. But as far as the over-the-road refrigerated opportunities, we do also have a sign-on bonus for that division. That is a $4,000 sign-on bonus, and it pays out where you get $1,000 after on your 6-month anniversary, another $1,000 on your 9-month anniversary, and the remaining $2,000, right? 1, 1, 2, there. The remaining $2,000 to complete the $4,000 on your 1-year anniversary. So at 12 months. So there we go. That's the over-the-road refrigerated. The over-the-road flatbed, okay, let me backpedal. The over-the-road refrigerated is usually 2 to 3 weeks out at a time and then home for 4 to 5 days. That's cool? That makes sense? Cool. Mike says, don't reject the load if you can't make on-time delivery. Your driver leaders will coordinate. Very good. Don't reject it, but make sure that they are very well aware of the of your hours. Yeah. Great comment. Someone actually asked that not that long ago. Not that specific question, but that on what if I can't make the load, they're not going to deliver it. Or they're not going to make it, it's going to count against me. If they're giving you a load and you don't have enough time on it, and you're telling them I don't have enough time on it, they're going to work with the company, the customer to reschedule it, but that's not going to count against you as a late load. That's all the communication. That's where the communication is important. All right. Over-the-road flatbed. Over-the-road flatbed is a $4,000 sign-on bonus. It is same payout, $1,000 at 6 months, $1,000 at 9 months, and $2,000 at your 12-month anniversary. Little different between the two sign-on bonuses. And as I'm telling you about the over-the-road flatbed, I want to backpedal and tell you some more details on the refrigerated, because that one actually has some qualifying factors that the flatbed does not. In order to qualify for the sign-on bonus in the refrigerated division, you can have no more than 3 jobs within the last 18 months. And then at least 2 years of tractor trailer experience. Okay. So yes, we have a sign-on bonus in our over-the-road refrigerated. We also have a sign-on bonus in our 11 days out and 3 days home refrigerated. But the requirement is no more than 3 jobs in the last 18 months and at least 2 years of over-the-road tractor trailer experience. Flatbed is the same payout for the over-the-road division. The $1,450 a week, the home weekly flatbed, is a higher payout. And in both flatbed divisions, we do not require the minimum experience or the job longevity. However, in order to meet hiring requirements, longevity is a factor. Previous longevity is a factor. Yeah. So like we can't work with 10 jobs in the last 3 years, that type of thing. Sean says they may repower it or change the date and time. Yeah, that's a good point. We are a team. And I think the best way to describe the whole process of if you're coming up on a load that, like Mike was saying, where you don't have the time in order to make an on-time delivery based off of, you know, what your hours of service are showing and when the delivery time is for that load, then the rest of the team, your driver leader, is working with other driver leaders to see, and schedulers, do we get the load rescheduled or do we have something that we can pass it off to, right? This is a logistics puzzle, and that's what they're good at. So if you are, you know, if say you're headed home, I'm throwing out scenarios that I don't even know if they exist, but they're similar enough. So if you're coming from Dallas, Texas, and you need to get home to Denver, okay, the load is in Dallas. There's not much time on it. You don't necessarily have all the hours to get there, but you can get it up to Kansas City. And maybe we have another truck that's coming through that's got a lot more hours. You can swap that load. You can repower it with somebody else. You're not having to worry about this. This is a nice thing. So if you're like an owner operator and you've been dealing with this headache yourself while driving, that's why you get a company like Decker, right? Okay, so then someone repowers it in Kansas and gets the rest away to Chicago, I don't know, and then you'll be able to head home to Denver. Yeah, did I give those right directions? That's why you have somebody that knows what they're doing. But yeah, it's a team effort. So we've got a great team behind us. You've got over 200 supporting staff there for you. And you know, as far as our drivers, we have over 650, I think closer to 680 for our current drivers. And it's a good team effort, you guys, for getting the loads where they need to be and making sure the loads are available, making sure that you've got the benefits and the perks and the bonuses and that, you know, you can make the income that you need to, you can get the home time that you need to and want, that type of thing. You've got a lot of people working for you. Here we go. Benefits. That reminds me. Benefits start after 60 days, 61st day of employment, and it's APLOS. So you've got medical, dental, vision, prescription, $0 copays on generic and specialty and brand name drugs, prescriptions. We've got dental, Delta Dental. We have Avision for vision. You've got company paid life insurance on you, your spouse. You've got short-term, long-term disability that you can add on, you know, if you want to dive deeper into that. As far as vacation, you get 1 week after your first 6 months. So you get 1 week at your 6-month mark. You'll also get another week on your 1-year anniversary. And then it's annually at that point. You get additional vacation each year. So you get another week on your 2-year anniversary. Then you'll get 2 weeks on your 3-year anniversary and continue at 2 weeks each year on your anniversary until you hit your 7th year. And then on your 7th year, you'll get 3 weeks per year. So those are the stepping stones for you for your vacation time. Yeah. And we figure for every 7 days you're out, it's a day and a half home time. So if you are, if you're going to need a few days off and you're out a few weeks and you're kind of building that up, use that time and obviously spend it at home. Enjoy, or if you're going somewhere, but it's yours. You've accumulated it. All right. Well, orientations are on Mondays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes depending on, if additional questions and if you had time or didn't have time on Wednesday to go through the truck. Our trucks, like I said, they're newer model. They've got a lot of amenities. So our maintenance staff, they'll walk through the truck with you, go through the checklist, what everything is, making sure you know how to use all of the amenities, APUs, that kind of stuff, troubleshooting them if need be. And then you're dispatched out. We'll put you to work, just like you planned on it. But it's either usually Wednesday or Thursday that you're dispatched out. We pay you $500 for completing orientation, and yeah, get you home. Now, we do try to get you home on one of the first dispatches, but it's not always the first dispatch, like the very first, because you're coming out of Fort Dodge, Iowa. And Fort Dodge doesn't go to every location, right? You probably know that. So, and we keep our deadhead low. So if the load's headed to Chicago, probably have you deliver the load in Chicago. And then if you live in Gary, I'm just throwing names out here, but if you live in Gary, Indiana, then you can go to Gary, get your stuff, and hopefully by then we already have a load that you're picking up at that point. So that's how we usually work, getting your stuff on after coming out of orientation. However, for those of you who are home weekly, usually able to finish that load, get you home by the weekend, and then for those who I'm thinking the home weekly, the home on the weekends, refrigerated, that one. All right. Well, if you want to speak to one of our recruiters or have more questions or interested in getting going, you can either apply online at drivedecker.com or speak to one of our recruiters directly. They'll get you a direct link to the application, the full app or Intelli app, and we can get you moving. So our telephone number is 877-433-2537 or 877-4 We'll get you the same number. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will be back live on Monday to answer more questions, and that will be on our Facebook page at 4 p.m. Central and noon Central on our YouTube next Tuesday. Speaking of Tuesday is the 1st of July, which means it is going to be time for our quarterly drawing, our quarterly referral drawing. I was going to say safety. It's also time for our safety training. So be on the lookout for that. I think I saw something come through today for my end. We go through safety training as well. But that said, we'll have our quarterly recruiting drawing, the quarterly drawing. If you referred somebody within this quarter, in this case, it'd be second quarter. If you referred someone within the second quarter, your name goes in for a drawing for a chance to win $1,000. So you got that coming. Right? First, I was doing my math, making sure that's coming up. So it's coming up on Tuesday. So it'll probably be a Facebook Live. So join us then. See who won the $1,000. Use my little cooler. Where's it at? That one. I put all the names in that. Mike says, as a good rule, when coming to orientation, bring enough stuff for 2 to 3 weeks. Fair enough. Yeah, I usually said a week, but you're probably right, because who knows what those routes will be, and especially if you're in the over-the-road division. If you're out west, you come into orientation in Fort Dodge, Iowa. So if you're out west, say you live in Portland, Oregon, it could take that to get you swinging you back into your schedule, right? Into your route. Cool. All right. Cool. Thank you guys for your help. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the sunshine. Hopefully you get some. And we will see you next Tuesday here on our YouTube channel at noon Central, or next Monday on our Facebook Live at 4 p.m. So have an awesome rest of your day. Let's see if I can shut this down for the day. Maybe. There we go.